A. Balasubramaniam is CEO at Birla Sun Life Asset Management Company, and he's joining us right now. Bala, good morning. Pleasure to have you with us here. I want to start by asking you whether you are expecting the Reserve Bank of India to cut rates either in December, which I think I know the answer to, or in February. Early next year you expect a rate cut, because many in the market are now saying that is actually quite a bit, it's very possible.
Yeah, true. I think, Prashant, interestingly, since we manage one of the largest debt funders in the country, and we have also been promoting investing in duration funds for quite some time, for the last almost 6 to 7 months. As per our analysis, which is done by our fixed income team as part of our macroeconomic research analysis, clearly there has been a visible change that we are seeing it emerging, especially with respect to the inflations coming down, and we also see actually some bit of improvement towards the fiscal numbers. So the question is whether you want to believe that the trend, of course, is changing towards for sure, and we're going to sustain actually for a long period of time. And that's the question which I think we'll have to also look at it. I think the last 3 months, the biggest factor that has changed for India is the oil price coming down. As a result of that, the overall the inflations led by fuel has dropped quite significantly. We also seen actually the food prices coming off. And third, as per analysis, the wage inflation in general, India has gone on quite significantly. Probably the way we look at it, while the trend of course clearly is emerging towards pro-policy framework, more towards bringing down the interest rate. But if you look at the bond market, already started discounting the rate cut. The question is whether it is December or the question is February. Though we are of the opinion that in all probability it could come in the later part of the financial year, in the last quarter of the financial year. That is only from the fact that probably they would like to see how the inflation is going to sustain, and whatever now is being believed that that's the trend that is emerging, we need to also give some time actually for it to sustain. At the same time, the interest rates cut also has to coincide with the overall pickup in the economic growth. I think at this point of time, if you see, the overall rates in the market is coming down, and the bond market is already discounting. Some bit of a trend emerging towards the rate cut. If you actually also look at it, the interest rate swap market already discounting a series of rate cuts ranging from 50 basis points to 100 basis points. So the question is whether it is in December or February. In our belief is probably will be later part of the year rather than being early. By being early, the way we see is probably not lead to any kind of big achievement, except temporarily improving the overall sentiment, especially at a time when the credit growth is not very high. At the same time, the corporates are able to access the bond market at reasonably, rather relatively a lower rate of interest compared to what was there in the past.
Bond yields have come down significantly now. I think about 30 basis points in the last 1 month itself, much more if you take a look at the last couple of months. So obviously that is pricing in all this, right? Some hope of rate cut, oil prices down, overall general stability which we are seeing. How has this affected the cost of funds for corporates and banks in particular, Bala, as you see it?
I think, Prashant, interestingly, if you look at one of the trends that is emerging, I think the whole of last year, the deposit growths were quite significantly lower than the credit growth, and we have seen actually the credit growth numbers as slipping. And maybe it's thanks to the oil companies, used to be the single largest borrower from the banks from working capital finance point of view. Today is not there because of the clear pass-through, I think what they are now getting. And the second is, of course, because of the poor industrial activities picking up, we are not seeing actually significant growth coming on the banking systems on credit growth. And that's being the case, most of the banks have been actually cutting down the rates and deposits. We have seen that happening. And most of the Indian corporates, because of the sheer demand that is coming from foreign investors to invest in the Indian bond market, given the fact that outlook for Indian interest rates is going to be relatively positive, and probably there is a high probability that the people who go long on bonds will make more money, and also this is being backed by some bit of stability that has come in the currency market. All those things put together, the demand for Indian bond market from foreign investors have been quite high. Maybe I would assume this is one of the highest you would have ever seen in the last many number of years. And today the limit that is available for government securities market is fully utilized. The corporate bond market, because the limit is open, at the same time demand for buying in the Indian bond market is so high, the corporate bonds are trading at about the historical lowest possible spread, about 20 basis points over government securities. This is also actually the true indicator of the kind of demand that could put that
So
potentially
government
for bond
securities
market.
are at about 8.3, corporate bonds would be about 8.5 or so.
It has to be annualized.
Okay.
8.3 is annualized about 855.
Okay.
Then you add up another 20 basis points, it comes close to about 890.
Okay. And what, I mean, usually what is the premium they trade at?
I think the average historical spread, if you take for corporate bond market, would be anywhere around 60 to 70 basis points, which essentially means that is trading at a substantial premium to the long-term average. Which essentially means that the corporates are able to rise, whether it is public sector bonds or AAA rated bonds, are able to tap the bond market at the lowest possible spread over the common securities. So what does it mean? It means actually that the cheaper financing is relatively available for the bond market, even if there has not been cut the interest rates, just on the basis of an expectation of rate cut, and also just on the basis of the confidence that now currently is emerging both on the currency stability as well as on the inflation's outlook that is changing, is already brought down the interest rates quite substantially. And given the fact that the rate cut could also be on the card,
Yeah.
I think the one market which we believe that could probably see the biggest participations and biggest the move in terms of yields coming down is actually the government securities market. Today the government of India is the single largest borrower. Any rate cut could potentially benefit the government of India in terms of their borrowing programs as well as in terms of higher participations coming from domestic investors.
Right. And, you know, so you, as you said, have one of the largest debt portfolios in the country. So what are you doing about the situation? I mean, I'm sure that you already are sitting on, I mean, you're fully invested, right?
True. I think Prashant, interestingly, both my co-CIO at debt as well as the whole fixed income portfolio managers, I've been of course expressing view for quite some time that purely on the basis of the internal analysis that the bond market will probably behave much better than the whole of last year and providing an opportunity for going long in the bond portfolios. And most of the portfolios which you run in the fixed income space, especially with an intention to take duration calls such as dynamic bond fund and income fund categories, clearly the duration of the funds have been elongated from almost about 3 years to almost about 6 to 6.5 years, which is nothing but reflection of the bullish view, and that actually is playing out quite well. The other thing which also of course we track, which is of course not viewed by the public as well as the investors at large at the HNIs and retail level, which is nothing but interest rates swap market. Interest rate swap market in 5 years have come down almost about 1% the last few months, which is nothing but an advanced indicator of how the bond market and the bond yields will move as we move forward.
Can you, what has that come down to, you said?
Which is the overnight interest rate swap, which is an OIS market, which is nothing but it's like your derivatives in equity, and which also reflects the bond market and expectations in terms of yields going down, and that's also the market which is being used by players in the market for hedging the portfolios or taking position in the portfolios without having an actual investment, which is purely on the basis of nominal value. And that actually has been rallying quite a lot for the last few months. Almost over the last few quarters, we have seen actually downtrending scenario as for the OIS market.
You know, for retail viewers who are watching, and you're saying the great opportunity from here is, and I guess people like S. Naren from ICICI Pru, who was on our show earlier, I mean, he also said that compared to equities, bond market for investors looks much more attractive now.
True.
And I think you agree with that, at least for a 1 year perspective, right?
Yeah.
What kind of funds should they focus on? Because there are all these kinds of funds in the debt segment as well.
True. I think clearly, Prashant, is something which is the rates are high, and the expectation of rate cut is only the question of is not the question of whether it's going to be there or not. It's a question of time, and that's being the case clearly from the investors' point of view. Having of course seen reasonably bull market in equity, and equity and asset class, while we continue to believe that longer term it will of course give a substantial benefit to the investors, one can't ignore that in terms of asset allocations. At the same time, the opportunity that is emerging on the fixed income space, especially for the retail and HNIs to participate, including the SMEs, could potentially participate in the duration funds, which are largely in the 6 to 5 years, 5 to 6 years kind of durations, ranging from 3 to 6 years kind of durations, what we can say. The question is, some of the established funds are there, as I mentioned about, say, the dynamic bond fund is one of the largest fund, has seen actually the whole cycles, at the same time has got an opportunity to actually, it takes advantage. At the same time, whenever there is an opportunity for people even cut their exposures in terms of durations, the portfolio managers actually manages it. And that's the kind of active management would potentially build.
When you say duration funds, you say these are essentially they would invest in instruments of that kind of tenure, right?
Exactly.
5 to 6 years or so.
Exactly.
But you're not locked in or anything.
No, it's open-ended.
Right.
And then there is active management. What we do for a 6-year durations, you need to buy 10 to 12 years kind of securities, either in government securities or the corporate bonds. And the interest rates come down. They do participate in the rally. The another, of course, is the thumb rule is always available. If it's a 5 years durations, if there is a 50 basis points drop in interest rates on the portfolio yield, that actually adds to about 2.5% in terms of absolute return to the investors.
Good morning, Mr. Balasubramanian. This is Anindya from the Delhi studio. We have just got a question from a viewer actually, so I'm going to ask that for you. Why would I invest in, let's say, a Birla Sun Life debt fund and not directly in a government bond? And there are two parts to the question. I want to first ask this question.
Yeah, I think clearly it's a mutual funds. It doesn't buy from the investor's point of view. He doesn't buy the instruments. He buys the portfolio of securities that is available in the mutual funds, and it also is depending on the portfolio manager's ability to buy such kind of bonds, spotting the opportunities on an ongoing basis, on a daily basis, and then accordingly implement the portfolio strategy. So therefore, it's completely different from buying a direct bond and buying a mutual funds in terms of his own advantage. Second is the mutual fund. If you hold it for 3 years, it does give you the benefit of capital gain tax advantage, which is the only instruments in the country allows the investors to take the advantage of adjusting the cost against the inflations, the total return when he gets, and also calculate his tax returns. Clearly, it's the mutual funds over a period of 3 years. If you hold it for 3 years, it does provide him a tax adjusted efficient return for his investment. Whereas in the case of direct government securities, at times yes, there could be liquidity as an issue because the size in the bond market especially is pretty high and largely dominated by institutional investors. For middle investors, the size of getting that is difficult. Second is the liquidity is an issue, and third, of course, the biggest the dampener could be the tax disadvantage. Any interest income that you get is taxed at the nominal tax rate. Any capital gain that you get is also taxed at the same nominal tax rate, which is about 30% plus. Whereas in the case of mutual funds, eventually if you hold it for 3 years, it could potentially become a tax free, especially in a time where inflation is ranging from anywhere between 5 to 6% or maybe 6 to 7%.
So the second part of the question is that when government bonds, when interest rates drop and government bonds, you're saying, are likely to get more expensive, the reason for corporates to raise money by floating bonds reduces, right? So the interest in corporate bonds reduces. But when you have a fund manager who's balancing between the amount of money they're putting in government bonds and the amount of money they're putting in corporate bonds, is it likely that as interest rates go down, the weight of government bonds is going to increase in their portfolio?
I think as of now, if you see, as I mentioned in the earlier question to Prashant, clearly the corporate bonds are trading at substantial premium to the longer term corporate bond spread that they have historically traded.
Yeah.
And that being the case, and also the value that is being seen at this point of time is more in the Government of India securities space, both in the state government bonds as well as central government bonds. As of now, the portfolios, if one looks at it, especially in our own fund house case, clearly the debt portfolios, which are actively managed duration portfolios, overweight on government securities, less underweight on the corporate bonds. And this is quite dynamically managed.
Is that going to keep expanding? Are government securities going to increase in weight? Is that your assessment?
It's already high, I would assume. It's already is about ranging from 50 to 60% in most of the portfolios, which itself is high. At the same time, you need to also maintain some portion of the portfolios to manage your liquidity. In that sense, it's already high. I think as we move forward, probably once the portfolio managers really benefit out of such kind of investment, and then as and when they see an opportunity or spot the opportunities, where to actually go into next, after seeing actually some bit of movement in both the bond market, in corporate bonds as well as the government securities market, I would assume the actively managed portfolios will readjust itself actually to represent an opportunity that could emerge potentially as we move forward.
But your assessment is that it's already, the weight is quite high, it's unlikely to go any further.
True.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Pleasure talking to you. Thanks for taking out time. We are going to be taking